If the entire world were to experience a disaster similar to the Chernobyl nuclear catastrophe, the consequences would be catastrophic and far-reaching, affecting all aspects of life on Earth. Here's a detailed look at what might happen. What would happen if the world became Chernobyl? Environmental impact. Widespread radioactive contamination. Massive areas would be contaminated with radioactive materials, rendering them uninhabitable for decades or even centuries. This would lead to long-term environmental damage. Biodiversity loss. Many species would suffer from radiation exposure, leading to significant declines in biodiversity. Some species may adapt or evolve, but many others could face extinction. Ecosystem disruption. Radiation would disrupt ecosystems, altering food webs and ecological relationships. Certain areas might see a resurgence of wildlife due to the absence of humans, similar to the Chernobyl exclusion zone, but overall, ecosystems would be severely damaged. Human health. Radiation sickness and cancer. Large populations would suffer from acute radiation sickness, and over time, increased rates of cancer and other radiation-induced illnesses would be prevalent. Genetic mutations. Radiation can cause genetic mutations, leading to birth defects and other hereditary conditions in future generations. Mental health. The psychological impact of such a disaster would be profound, with widespread trauma, anxiety, and depression. Societal and economic impact. Mass displacement. Millions of people would be displaced from their homes, leading to humanitarian crises and overcrowded refugee camps. Economic collapse. The global economy would suffer immensely, with industries such as agriculture, manufacturing, and tourism being particularly hard hit. Rebuilding and decontaminating affected areas would require enormous resources. Infrastructure damage. Infrastructure, including buildings, roads, and utilities, would be severely damaged or abandoned due to contamination, leading to a breakdown in services and quality of life. Political and social impact. Government response. Governments worldwide would need to coordinate emergency responses, which could strain international relations and resources. Political instability might arise as governments struggle to manage the crisis. Social inequality. The disaster could exacerbate social inequalities, with marginalized communities suffering the most due to limited access to healthcare, safe living conditions, and resources. Cultural loss. Many cultural and historical sites could be lost or rendered inaccessible due to contamination. Technological and scientific impact. Advancements in decontamination. The need to address widespread contamination could spur advancements in decontamination technology and radiation protection. Energy policy changes. The disaster would likely lead to a re-evaluation of nuclear energy policies, with increased investment in alternative energy sources. Research on radiation effects. There would be a significant increase in research on the effects of radiation on health and the environment, potentially leading to new medical and scientific discoveries. Long-term consequences. Climate change. The disruption of ecosystems and agriculture could affect global carbon cycles and contribute to climate change. Global population decline. The combined effects of radiation sickness, reduced fertility, and increased mortality could lead to a significant decline in the global population. Altered human civilization. The global disaster would likely lead to profound changes in human civilization, potentially reshaping societies, economies, and cultures in ways that are difficult to predict. In summary, if the world were to become like Chernobyl, the impact would be devastating on a global scale, affecting the environment, human health, society, and the economy. It would take an immense effort and significant time to recover from such a disaster, with long-lasting consequences for all life on Earth.